Welcome to DarkHours FM, where real horror meets the unknown. You can now listen to every episode, explore new stories, and uncover what hides behind the mic at darkhoursfm.com, the official home of the dark. Tonight's story, Season 3, Episode 3, Ingrid's Unexplained Encounters. Let's begin. Some encounters stay with people for years, not because they understand them, but because they never will. These are Ingrid's real-life encounters. The first happened when Ingrid was 17 years old. She was in her bedroom one night, trying to sleep through a bad migraine. She couldn't rest, so she lay there staring at the ceiling in the dark. Then suddenly, in the corner of the wall, she saw a huge shadow watching her. It was tall and unnaturally shaped, with long arms and hands that looked wrong. Not like a person's hands, but something thinner, with only 3 long fingers. What terrified her most were its eyes. They didn't look human. They looked like fire. The moment she saw it, her body locked up. She couldn't move. She couldn't scream. She tried to call for her mother, but no sound came out. Then the figure threw itself on top of her and gripped her arms tightly, holding her down while staring straight into her face. Ingrid said all she could see were those burning eyes. In her panic, she remembered something her mother always told her, that Psalm 91 could protect her. So in her mind, over and over, she began reciting the verse she could remember until everything went black. The next morning, she woke up exhausted, but the worst pain was in her arms. When she looked, she found bruises wrapped around them like the marks of 3 long fingers. The bruises stayed for a long time. Later, an elderly neighbor told her that the dead visited her because she carried a gift and warned her to use holy water and prayer to keep evil spirits away. Her second encounter happened in the countryside while walking home with her grandmother after a late-night vigil. It was around 12:30 in the morning, and the road was completely lonely. As they walked, the dogs from nearby homes began barking and howling. At first, the sounds were far away, but they moved closer very fast. Ingrid's grandmother immediately told her it was El Cadejo. She explained that if Ingrid listened closely, she would hear something strange mixed in with the sound, like metal dragging across the ground. Her grandmother told her there were 2 cadejos, the white one connected to good, and the black one connected to evil. She warned her not to make any movement toward it, and especially not to look it in the eyes. As they hurried toward home, Ingrid saw a massive black dog on the road ahead. At first, she thought it might belong to a neighbor, but it was far too large to be an ordinary dog. Then, a second one appeared, just as large, but white. Ingrid froze as the 2 animals began to fight. In that moment, she saw the black cadejo's eyes glowing an intense red. Her grandmother pulled her by the hand and rushed her home. Once inside, Ingrid was trembling so badly she couldn't calm down. Her grandmother began to pray and gave her holy water, but Ingrid still couldn't sleep for the rest of the night. The third encounter happened in December, on a cool night, when Ingrid was sitting outside with her sister-in-law beside a bonfire. They stayed out late talking, facing an abandoned house across from them. A house where no one had lived since the owner had died. Suddenly, they heard the sound of glass dishes shattering inside the empty house. Both of them froze. Then came the scream of a woman, a cry filled with so much pain that they thought someone inside might actually need help. So they went to look behind the house. What they found was a woman in a white dress, walking slowly around a water basin with her head lowered. Ingrid and her sister-in-law asked if she needed help. The woman stopped. Then she turned to face them. Ingrid said they immediately understood. She was not anyone from the village. She was someone they had never seen before. The woman began calling to them softly, saying, "My daughters, come to Mother." Ingrid and her sister-in-law grabbed each other's hands and began backing away, but their feet suddenly felt unbearably heavy, as if each leg were weighed down. They couldn't speak. They could only look at each other and understand they needed to get away. When they finally reached home, they were pale, shaking, and breathing hard. It took them more than 40 minutes to explain what had happened. After hearing the story, her sister-in-law's mother told them she, too, had heard a woman crying around 3 in the morning, calling out for her children. Ingrid said the figure wore white. Her makeup was smeared, as if she had been crying for a long time. And when she saw them, she wanted them to come closer. Thank you for joining us in the dark tonight. Stories like these remind us that the world can be stranger and sometimes darker than we expect. As you go about your night, remember that not every sound has an explanation, and not every shadow is empty. Stay aware of your surroundings and trust your instincts, because sometimes the most unsettling stories are the ones that could happen anywhere,